Oh, they're already in queue as well. Hey, welcome back everyone to DPL.
Okay.
We've got the game actually already queued up that we were just talking about during the pre-show, which we're still trying to figure out if we want to do that, before all the matches happen or maybe on its own separate day. But yeah, like I had just said as we were going live, because I guess I refused to listen to when Ike's telling me we were transitioning. I found it so important that I was like, oh my god, they're already queued. They've been dying to get this matchup underway. So we're gonna hop into this best of one series between Yakuza versus LCG to already the player lobby. Seeing everyone in their nice drippy outfits, mostly the defense, because Argus members just don't receive enough love nowadays. That will change in due time, I could guarantee it. But yeah, Boxy, I know you and I were talking a lot about the importance of this game, but if you want to reimburse that again, by all means,
Yeah.
feel free to do so.
Okay. So first of all, what I'm about to say goes under the assumption that Bingus wins against Rise, which is 99.99999% sure. And then the global breakout also beats Gnomes, which is also like a very, very high percentage, of that happening. And so if both of those things happen, that means that this match pretty much determines the standings. Rise is already locked in for relegations. There's no going around it. And then, like I said, if Gnomes lose, they stay at 4 points that they currently have. And then if Yakuza loses this match, they go to relegations. If Yakuza wins this match, then they are safe. And it's a tiebreaker match between LCG and Gnomes to determine who's going to relegation. And if we see a draw, let me figure this out. If each team gets a point, then it's a tiebreaker match between Gnomes and Yakuza on who goes into relegations. So very high stakes match. I think that, like you said, the match could be very evened out. But I guess let's see what the players have in store for us. The first one is going to be Kill House, and it's one of these big open ones with Lumberyard being around 40% of the map, which I've said in the past I'm not a fan of, but I do want to hear your own opinion on these fellows. So why don't you let me know?
So the main thing with a very big as we are waiting to unpause the game when everyone's ready because someone had their game clash. Oh, we had Flogel actually return. I will ask both teams ready, and that'll answer your question, of course. Both teams are.
Okay, LCG's good.
All right. Yep. I will unpause.
Okay.
Cool. We're good.
Well,
anyways, back to what you were asking me. With this set for Kill House, I feel like it doesn't play into the one main aspect, and that's wallbang ability. You normally play in a lot of mid-range and short-range engagements. Having such an open lumberyard does allow you to experiment, especially with pretty two decent sniper teams. Like Jet's always known to be that Saber and Mop player, and Admiral Crunch was kind of given Reptar a lot of trouble when they were playing against the Gnomes at some point. So both two very decent sniper teams, which does allow for some opening picks to maybe be found. Maybe we have someone playing Pillbox for an aggressive swing with a weapon. Maybe not the Mop because it's kind of risky, but some sort of high weapon. Maybe someone plays, for example, next to this gate, for example, a smoke is being tossed here, so that wouldn't really be that strong of a position for the defense. But normally if you have somebody mopping, they're going to be playing somewhere near Lumberyard for the most part, whether that be holding a sightline like this, for example, or they play perhaps kind of on the swing of the double doors. They hit a shot, they fall back into office to reload, or dare I say, playing in Pillbox and doing this and dying with Mop, because you either kick this door early, that way you can fall back, but even then, if someone just runs like this, you will most likely get shot at least a little bit. So that's a very risky decision to make, but it might be done. But speaking of snipers, Boxy, we do have one on the board, not by Admiral Crunchberry, but instead Lynn.
Yeah, but speaking of Admiral, though, he will be the one at least spawning inside of Pillbox, and he was swinging towards the van, so maybe we'll see it. Oh, it's going to be a tag team duo by Toxic and Admiral. Let's see if they can actually get any entry picks. But it looks of it, though, the YY players all decided to go around the map and enter. Even smoke coming out just to make sure they can get hit by Lin on the sniper. Kuko pre-firing out a little bit, but no shots connecting as of yet. Besides Photon, he lost a little bit of HP. Nothing major, though. It was an interesting entry. And we are seeing a Nico, by the way. I don't know if we've spoken about this. But this is going to be an eco as far as I can tell. No explosives brought, and it's going to be a checkpoint push, which is usually considered suicide. But I guess Not in this specific tile set. Kuko, though, with the entry, Jet is going to be the first one to fall, and it's going to be a 4v5 for LCG in the first 90 seconds of round.
Ooh, Kuko unfortunately overstaying his welcome there near that green door. Thankfully, Toxic able to barb it off, though. Ghetto does have that grenade, but that will have to be expended pretty early into this engagement. Lin just gets out-dueled by Tommy. A 4 versus 3 with YY now coming back on top, but like you mentioned, that eco push does limit the capabilities of the offense. They have to push in either through Office or they go all the way around and deal with multiple sets of barbed wire. And it looks like they'll opt for the first option of just trying to have that headway inside of Office. They've got Photon up near Pillbox as well, so maybe he can apply some pressure on towards Admiral Crunchberry, who misses the molly. I think it's far enough where it will still deny anybody of entering through that green door, but a bit of wasteful utility as a flash didn't even get prepped there. There's still tons for the attack to utilize to clear out these last 3 defenders, and they still have plenty of time to do so as well. Here comes that charge play. Admiral Crunchberry now isolated, but he gets rid of Tommy as well. A 1 versus 3 as Lando's the only one left alive, and Ghetto will shut him down, still keeping the nade in pocket as well. It's gonna be YY to take round number 1.
This was a super eco round. The only thing that I really used was 2 smokes. Like you said, the nade got saved, a few flashes popped, but that's it. Can we talk about, I think it was Tommy though. He got the kill onto Lin, he sprinted outside, he dropped the mop, and then he went back in for his Vector, which was like, hey guys, we still have, 70 seconds. We do have the man advantage, but even if we end up losing this round somehow, some way, because that does happen every now and then, let's make sure that they can pick up the mop. Let's just stash it outside where only we can get it if we end up winning the round. And that is exactly what they do. Not only win the round, but also recover the mop. It's going to be Fulton picking it up. And that means that there's 2 snipers on the board for the attackers now, none for the defenders. And that, I don't know, at least, off of round 1, what I'm trying to say is Yaokuza just have so much econ advantage. They didn't use any charges. They have 2 snipers instead of 1. They have 2 grenades. Everything is really going well for them so far. And the second one is going to be Bang, where you can use both 2 charges and 2 snipers, because there's a lot of these long angles. You could just have one, I don't know, even maybe holding off hole or something.
Yes, they're gonna do it.
Are they?
I was gonna expect this. Yeah. So I was sorry for the raspiness, also cutting you off, but I was gonna mention this too. We have 2 snipers in the hands of YY essentially, and lobby's not a bad charge because you get vault pressure already established. You have that part of the map. One cool thing you can do because you have that wall charge is just wall charge directly in Teller. That's button pressure. You don't have to clear out accounting. You don't need to clear out hall. You just have somebody watch button, or more or less just watch this angle, for example, maybe a bit farther back so they don't get shot like this through TSA, or technically shot like this, I should say. And then you can just kind of waltz into bomb and only have to deal with security, accounting, and then Teller, which is not bad, especially when you have 2 snipers. Maybe somebody could actually play like this, for example, and kind of proxy near this vent and kind of watch like this, for example, in a very safe manner and just calm with their teammates when someone's trying to push accounting. Or you've got this long sideline you can work with too as an attacker. There's tons of options because you've got both the Saber and Mop this round. I'm hoping we see one, if not both of them on the board. And even if we only see one, it's still the matter of fact that we don't have a Mop in the defender's pocket. So a main push is going to be very challenging to stop.
Yeah, it looks like there's going to be the Jet on the Saber, no Mop in hand just yet, and it's only 2 seconds before they actually drop out of the truck, so not a lot of time to change your mind. But with what we do see on the defense, though, is Toxic on the auto shotty, and this is a pretty open Bang, apart from, a few angles. There's a lot of long-range engagement potential. So playing that auto, you need to be super careful with it. He's going to be playing it in Volt, so there's that Lin to support him with a short AK and mollies, also a bar already placed. But I don't know, I'm not a biggest fan of this auto shotty. Flogel will kick the vents, and for a second I thought he predicted it perfectly, but no, it was just a distraction. Ghetto with the entry on Lando, and it's again shaping up to be a Yaokuza round. Right off the bat, the wall charge reach coming through the button has been pushed, and now Kuko and Admiral Crunchberry aren't sure what to push, when to push, and how. UP first coming out from Admiral, but it's not going to be enough. The first molly comes out from the vault, but there's still 80 seconds left. Admiral on the flank gets the first one, but now the comms have been relayed. They know where he is. Flash is coming out, but the molly will find one. Ghetto on a refrag, though. Jet from his own bomb is being tapped. Admiral falls. Lin gets a team kill onto Kuko. and it's just Photon and Ghetto left alive. They can defuse the bomb, they can pick up the weapons, they can do whatever they want because they still have 60 seconds left.
One thing to note, no one ended up watching, accounting, just some missed comms, people getting a little too carried away of everyone wanting to apply pressure on the bomb. It happens. But one really little thing to note as well, that grenade tossed out by Ghetto did so much more than what he probably expected. Having Toxic be kind of like that main driving factor for the defense most likely because he had that full auto shotgun. Having that nade bring him down to 20 HP, give or take, it really did force him to be a literal glass cannon, even more so than what was already expected to begin on this second round. It was a very straightforward clear, and yeah, that Molly, TK, and Kuko, unfortunately, as well, as he had to run through Conveyor in a last-ditch attempt there. So, once again, really good stuff by YY, and besides that one little miscommunication, not having anybody watch flank, it was just a very solid round. They kept Clacker, which they didn't even need to because they already had one in the truck because they ecoed last round, and still having Saber as well, along with an AK. I mean, what more could you really ask for?
Yeah, I mean, they have all 3 power weapons. They still have an explosive to go because, well, they may have used 2 on Bank. They saved 1 on Kill House. And so the last tile set, whatever it is, should be a piece of cake for them. The round happened so fast and so chaotically, I couldn't even hand it off to you. And it's going to be dumb. Or you don't, normally breach anyways, or double breach, that is, at least. But they still can do one. I assume it's going to be the jungle one. But I guess going Pit and then Lights also isn't too far-fetched, especially since they still have the Saber and everything else, and because the map is practically cut in half by obs, so having that pulled would make a lot of sense, at least to some extent. But Pit is usually pretty hard to push, so like I said, a jungle breach also isn't out of the question. Also, the one thing that I want to address, because it has happened, it's going to happen before, is I'm sorry if you see me either coughing or drinking tea on camera. I caught pretty bad COVID a few days back, and I almost didn't even make it here today. So we're just doing our best given the circumstances. I'm so sorry. My voice is also pretty raspy, and it is what it is. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to be like, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be unprofessional. I'm just, if I don't drink a lot of tea and cough whenever I need to, I'm probably not going to be able to speak tomorrow. But back to the map, fellow. What do you think?
Well, I think that Pit isn't really a good idea, to be honest. I feel like you get much more bang for your buck if you do go jungle. Um, but maybe the idea is that they want to take their time
Mm-hmm.
before they start applying pressure on that vertical because they already know that there's no mop to deal with, so and no full auto. So they've got to deal with some Grubers, a couple AKs, an Ingmar, maybe a Legros because we saw it in play by Kuko, but it's such a clunky weapon to use. It's not even that good of an option unless you're playing to just deal some damage and you fall back immediately. You cannot hold your ground with just a Legros unless you have somebody backing you up. But back to what I was trying to note, you can go for lights, which is always nice for the pit play, but also if you push as a team properly, both through beach/base along with pit, you can then have this entire chunk of the map in your pocket. You only have to deal with bridge, and that's just a long angle you've got to deal with. And you already have 2 snipers to play with that, so it's not that challenging. And then also, you're applying pressure into ob. So really the only place you can play for a defender is back here, for example, and then probably inside of water directly. Maybe someone cheekily playing near this log. But other than that, there are not many places you can actually defend properly, especially with the amount of poor weaponry we have from the bad eco of LCG. So I don't hate this play. I don't completely hate this play. I
Mm-hmm.
still think jungle would not be a bad idea, but the way that YY is thinking of this, it does make sense.
Yeah, and again, like I said, I totally agree with you. I think in theory, jungle could be better, but it's also like there's no castle looking at pit, which is usually the case. Um, there's probably no one gonna be playing here on the green pit doors. Actually, maybe the barb is there, so possibly, but it's relatively easy to just have 2 people go beach, one watch the base push out, and then the other actually watch the green doors. And just getting power is pretty influential dome by itself, and then when you take into account that half the map is ops and that the bomb is directly beneath them, I think, like I said, it makes quite some sense to go for this, and then taking into account, like you said, LCG's for weaponry or economy, it just makes even more sense. So there's going to be a 2-3 split, which, by the way, is written on the map. I just can't read because why would I? Jet, Flogel, and Ghetto go beach, while Tommy and Photon below pit. That is exactly what's happening. Toxic going to be the first point of contention, and it's going to be Admiral Crunchberry helping him out in pit, besides those 2 barbed wires. No mollies, actually 1 molly between 2 of them, excuse me, and it gets thrown instantly. Toxic is flashed though. Admiral gets 1, gets refragged immediately, so it's a 4v4 right off the bat.
Well, at least that trade is going to be all right for the offense because they only have to do what Toxic isolated. If they get somebody to back them up, this could be huge. Another 1-for-1 trade, though, and still, not the worst position here for YY, but they are losing some really strong weaponry. Lind is fully blind. Lando's there to maybe back him up, but they both fall. They line up for Ghetto. 3 for the big man, as it's only Toxic in the middle of pit. He gets rid of 1, but it's still a 2v1, essentially, and there's plenty of pressure established. Do they know where Toxic is playing from with the big AK? I'm not that sure. Ghetto finally spots it out, still applying tons of pressure onto Bomb. Jet finally springs into action here to take care of him, but it's Ghetto. Nothing but net for this guy as he gets a 4K overall, and YY take it 3-0.
Well, Ghetto's been shitting today. You know, he's been really impactful on at least rounds 2 and 3. I honestly don't remember round 1, but you remember his nade. It was extremely impactful on round 2, and he just got in a 4 on round 3. So, well, good for him. He's really showing up today. But like you said, it's a 3-0, which means a flawless first set coming out from Yaokuza. LCG definitely need to step it up. Let's look at the stats because EK is so kindly showing them for us. Ghetto, not a surprise, 8-0-0 at the moment, 1-1 opening duel, 630 damage. Second one is Photon with almost half his damage, 370, 3-1 and 2. Then Flogel, then Tommy, then Jet. And then we have Kuko at the top of LCG, Toxic trailing not far behind him, and then Admiral, Lind, and Lando.
So I think the only thing to really note there was I probably would have preferred maybe like a 3-2 push the other way around perhaps for YY. I feel like for them wanting to go for pit, they didn't really apply a lot of pressure, and then after they cleared pit, then they would want to go for obs. Either that or just not fully clear out obs because they could just go base instead. They have bridge control, and then they just worry about 2 angles perhaps if they have somebody still sitting beach. But you know, it still worked, and honestly, the flash was really good leading into obs as well. So it wasn't like that bad. I feel like they followed like the strictness of a 3-2 push too much there. But you know, it still worked. So can't harp on them too much.
Just to play the devil's advocate there, right?
Yep.
It just depends on how aggro you want to get inside of pit.
Right.
On paper, it makes sense, at least to me, to send 3 people to base, so you can have 1 actually watching the push out from obs, and then 2 you can have either push into pit through beach green doors if need be, or just have them push to the center of the map and put pressure on jungle so that your pit people can also start advancing. And you know, I do think that having 3 was also definitely a viable option. Like you said, it ended up working out. But now it's going to be LCG attacking Killhouse, and let's see if they can maybe make it work a little bit better than they did on defense. They're bringing out a shotgun, a saber, and a clacker, and an 8, so they're kind of pulling all of the stops. It's just going to be a singular breach as far as I can tell so far, though. Yep, the wall charge still in the truck. So there's that. I wanna see Admiral do work with the saber though. I think you could definitely save it for bank or dome, and bringing it in Killhouse, even though it has a huge lumberyard, is not necessarily the play. But what do I know? Ghetto's gonna be the first one to fold the top fragger for Yaokuza, taken out of contention in just 15 seconds. On the other side of the map, Lind is just crouching in through checkpoint, or for now he's just watching. Rather, he knows where Flogel is. But I assume he'll push checkpoint at some point.
Oh, that's not a good way to have things happen there. Photon just straight up mercy kills Jet, I suppose, and want the attackers to get their stats padded. But already, a very challenging. I guess so, Boxy, but it's already a 5 versus 3. The only issue issue here is that they still have to funnel in through office the attackers unless they fully rotate. Flogel's in a very odd spot because he can't really fall back, but he still kills somebody. Fully blinded though, Toxic will make quick work of him, and now it is only Tommy left to survive this thing. He's got a knack, so he could play for a wallbang against this barbed wire and a molly, so time can also be wasted. But fact of the matter, there's 3 flashbangs, and that grenade just broke your only line of defense here. It is just Tommy with that Molotov once again. Dealt a bit of damage by that DL. Not really a lot, though, if any. No, he's on 92 HP, so only 8 health was taken away. But here come the flashes flying in through. Toxic will just run through the molly, and it works because he's got the shotgun. And there we have it. A all-right round, to be honest, for LCG. A really good win, but first off, I don't know why Ghetto swung, and I don't know how Photon TK'd Jet. I don't know how that happened.
I mean, Ghetto in 3 rounds, the man got like 8 kills if I'm not mistaken. You can let him ego swing 1 when they're 3-0 up. That's excusable. But then, like you said, Photon, you know, trying to be the superior Brit, he eliminated Jet, and it is what it is. I think it kind of fell apart for them right there and then. I did say I want to see Admiral do work on that Saber, and he did. And they also ended up saving the Saber onto next round, so I guess I can't complain about that. The one thing that I want to notice, or that I want to mention rather, that I noticed is, you know, you were talking about how Tommy has the neck. It's kind of winnable, or not winnable, but he has at least a chance contending the 1v3. The problem with neck is that while it obviously shreds through enemies extremely fast, is that it also runs out of bullets pretty fast. So going up against 3 people that are, you know, properly stacking up is next to impossible, just because you will definitely run out of ammo before you get all of them, unless they somehow actually actively throw. But enough rambling. Let's get back onto Bank. What do you think happens here?
Well, I'm not too sure. I think we've got LCG's idea of what they want to do here. So we might have a wall charge play between Accounting and Teller, which isn't bad either. The only problem is how tedious it is to clear through Accounting. There's just so much natural cover. Unless you throw 2 perfect stuns, you're not going to fully blind anybody. And also, you've got Manager Door, and you've got this. So there's plenty of anti-flash potential and still a ton of sightlines that the defenders can use. It's just a matter of, will the defense realize that Accounting is really strong and that's what LCG want to go for? Or are we going to have them expect maybe more of a main lobby style push instead?
Well, we'll see. You know, LCG, I think they don't have the courtesy that Yakuza had. Yakuza had 2 chargers to waste. They had both the snipers. And that's not what LCG can afford to do here. It also looks like Admiral is going to switch away from the Saber. Probably going to save it for Killdome. That's going to be played last. And he's going to be playing a Black Tower this round. Toxic saved an AK, so there's that. Also Kuko on the Gruber, Lando, and Lind just on the APs, though. It's going to be a singular breach from what I can tell. And honestly, if you go for a double breach here, it's not the worst idea. The double that we've seen was, you know, relatively ecoable if you just manage to take control of ops early on. So there is that. But I guess we'll see what they end up doing. They are NPC walking, which is pretty interesting.
Say a fun fact, I actually didn't know how to completely unholster everything until very, very recently because I never found actual use for it except just looking funny while doing it. But yeah, we'll have that mostly main push through Accounting. 2 smokes get tossed out, less sightlines to deal with if anyone overextends. They might need to use a nade potentially for this 1 barbed wire, because if not, they might have to heavily deal with a lobby funnel. Molly gets tossed very early though by Photon, but at least it forces them to only be stuck in Accounting for a little while longer. As we have Kuko trying to outduel Kuko, or pardon, yeah, well, trying to, but not going to actually be successful in that endeavor. So we already have a really good setup and a fast clear through Accounting, as it's only a matter of time before this wall charge detonates and they get button pressure as well.
Yeah, I was gonna comment on how Flogel got flashed like 3 times, and it took LCG so long to push him out, but I guess it ended up working out. Kuko took care of that problem. Lind will be picking up the mob though, and keep in mind it's a 1-shot for the defenders. Wall charge coming out though. Ghetto finds 1 Tommy with another 1. Lando finally puts a stop on the Ghetto's murdering spree, at least for the round that is. And now it's 2, 3, 2. Photon finds one as well. Lando on extremely 1 HP, but so is Photon. So much time to play with, but Ling will lose his life. It's all up to Lando to clutch this one out. He's all alone. He's scared. He has the clacker and a nade in pocket, so no flashes to assist him. And now I can hear the bump ticking. Last 30 seconds, he needs to start pushing. The vault has been opened, but that's pretty much it. The barbed wire will make a lot of noise when he tries crossing through it, and Photon will be waiting for him. It's also a long angle that could be called, or held rather, from the vault. We'll see what ends up happening. The nade comes in, goes way too wide, and doesn't actually hit. Photon swings, gets the kill onto Lando, and that is another round for Yakuza.
And I think what Lando was trying to do was make sure no one could recover the mop, because there's no way in a 2 versus 1 on such little HP you're going to win that against Gruber and an AK. So Lando was trying his best to make sure that mop doesn't get recovered because of how important the long range sightlines are for the next set for Dome. Like, there were just so many angles you can play and you can pressure with that mop that he wanted to make sure that wasn't an issue. But he couldn't, unfortunately, and at least he also had the nade spent too. So I think the only thing we'll have to worry about is someone getting a cheeky clacker kill, perhaps, and that could honestly be it. But besides that, just the crossfires established there by LCG, or not LCG, my mistake, by YY was really damn good. Like in that 2 versus 3, they brought it back such a tremendous way just by playing together in that 2 versus 3, really.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely agreed. But, well, despite Lando's best efforts, Photon still managed to pick up the mop if I'm not mistaken. So it's still going to be a pain in the rear, as you love saying it, for LCG as they try and attack. And if I remember correctly, they did save the Saber. So at least it's going to be a fair, sniper fight, a 1-on-1. But still, I don't know. If you manage to push into beach early on, if you manage to because there are clackers, right? Yeah, they save the clacker. Never mind. They can
Yep.
also go either beat or base. And what do you think happens here? Actually, I want to know now. I want your prediction. Is it going to be a jungle or a pit take?
Well, the only issue with pit now is, of course, mop. You've got this angle, which just sucks to deal with unless your Saber player's here. But normally you have your Saber always go beach no matter what. So that's probably not going to happen. And I think YY understand that's probably what's going to happen. We'll most likely see a jungle breach happen to apply pressure on that mopper, which is why we have Photon sitting here at the clacker, and maybe someone will put a barbed wire to help out and maybe alleviate some of that pressure as well. And that actually does deny the vault, so they have to basically commit to going this unless they nade that. But there are no grenades, so they kind of have to funnel themselves down this stairwell if they go jungle, so maybe it'll be a pit play instead. But that also is a big problem because, once again, this sightline with a mop, it's very deadly.
Yep. Well, the pit breach is out. My map is a little bit bugged. There we go. Finally, we're back. It's going to be Flogel ratting in the corner, and I'm not sure if they actually checked that. He could prove absolutely devastating to the defenses, or rather the attacking forces of LCG. Also, the mob shot coming out from Photon. Jet. Photon to support him, not so long. Flogel gets the entry full soon thereafter. Ghetto finds one. Kuko also found Photon. Currently a 3v3, and we're just 40 or 15 seconds into the round.
Yeah, that was really not good team play at all. I think they allowed people to get really aggressive in base, which applied a nice crossfire onto Jet, and then Photon falled soon after. And now it's Ghetto and Tommy left to stand. I mean, we've seen them clutch it at 2 versus 3 beforehand, so they could definitely bring this one back still, especially since Lando and Kuko are very low on HP, but they have to play their cards almost perfectly, especially since the lights are out. That does impair their vision to a very good extent. Ghetto's still kind of playing in the middle of obs. He could maybe go for a wide swing, but again, that barbed wire, very audible cue. Kuko most likely be able to turn around, give that information, and even if he dies, that could maybe allow Lando to have some nice reconnaissance over into the top of bridge. Look at this slow pushing through. They're trying to deal with Tommy here properly, but Lando now dead. It's only Lind and Kuko just trying to win this 2 versus 1, and Ghetto will manage to receive that call. He'll try to wide swing up near the top of odds. A flash gets tossed on out. This should be a free 1-for-1, but here's Ghetto at just the right time from the top of obs. Brilliant anti-flash play, and it's 5-1 for YY.
I was gonna comment on the positioning from Tommy and Ghetto. behind the bomb. I totally get that, and that's fine. But then we had Ghetto on playing on top of Obs, which I wasn't a fan of. There was a barbed wire there to, give him an audible clue if someone had pushed that. I would have preferred for Ghetto to be there on the bottom side of Obs to maybe help out Tommy earlier on. It ended up working out, but it was by the skin of Yakuza's teeth. It came down to 1v1 where it really didn't need to. But like you said, it was a 3v2 somehow. The miraculous boys clutched it up once again. And 5-1. We've been saying about how close this match is going to be, and how I think he just jinxed it, man. Caster's curse is a real thing, and this is shaping up to be a 7-1, maybe 7-2, unless LCG find their pacing, their stride really soon. It's not going to end well for them. And keep in mind, like I said, if we assume that both Rise and Gnomes lose their matches, so that means that Bingus and Gold Breakout win, and then Yakuza ends up winning, which is very likely, that means it's probably going to be a tiebreaker match between Gnomes and LCG for who goes to playoffs and who goes to relegations. And, if you play relegations, there's a solid chance that you get knocked down into the lower league for next season and someone else takes your upper league spot. We only have 6 teams in the upper league currently, so the fact that 33% of all the teams is playing relegations and could potentially get replaced is completely mind-blowing to me, but it is what it is. We are on C-Store, and we could be pushing match point here if Yakuza can continue their villainous killing spree.
Well, one thing to note here, we have a wall charge play occurring for the offense of LCG. One thing to note, you should probably never want to push in through bathroom. I've tried it before. It's so challenging, especially if someone's playing in one of the stalls with a shotgun, for example. And you get nothing. You get nothing from clearing this, because all you have to do when you apply pressure to bomb is you watch the store, you maybe open it, and you wait for someone to swing and try to go for a wallbang kill. That's all you need to do. It's not that difficult. So it's more problems just to clear this early than it is just to wait for it. But besides that, we'll just have most likely a very heavy freezer take, and we do have Photon waiting here at the knack as well to go for a wall bang like this, for example, when he hears that audible cue, and Jet's there too to help out as well, maybe with that full auto, depending on what the comms are like or how the positioning is for LCG. But just going to be that 4-1 split with only Lin watching your office, sorry, as it's a very heavy commit for the shutter play, Boxy.
Yeah, I do wonder what happened though, because on the storefront there's the 2 and then there's 1 in office, so I do want to know what the thought process of LCG was. But the breach is coming out, so are the flashes. Tommy's trying to provide some cover fire. Long range with the neck, none are connecting though. Photon with the other neck in hand is playing in arcade. Jet is there to support him, but Lin pushes him out and gets him. Lin, use your flashes. No, he just pushes in. He doesn't see Photon. Does he die there? They sprint each other, but no collision does its thing, and Lin is finally going to fall. Lando on the other side of the door there. No flash to help him out, and if only they had pushed that together, Photon would have been long dead. No, though, Photon is still free to just sprint around. He's playing on the doors around that barb now, and Lando is trying to push in through there, helping with the flashbang. There we go, finally flashed and killed by Lando. It is a 3v2 currently in Flogel and Tommy, a neck and an Ingmar in hand as they try and fend off LCG for another 50 seconds.
Well, Admiral Crunch, he's got to get more proactive in this position here, as the rest of his team is getting ready to apply that pressure on the bomb. Currently watching Keller, so Lando will have to watch the bathroom doorway. And it looks like they're just trying to bait to force this knack player of Tommy to get aggressive. Actually go around to the opposite door, and Admiral Crunchy's there just waiting patiently. Good repositioning there by the offense to actually deny a flank from being a problem and having this sightline potentially stop anyone from defusing. But there we have it. LCG, a relatively strong round. But you mentioned this as well, Boxy. The lack of utility by Lin there was just outright dumb, because he would have just killed Photon by himself if he had just thrown a flashbang, and he also got very lucky that Jet did not win against him with the full auto that close.
Yeah, absolutely. Jet dying there, was something that shouldn't have happened, and then, I don't know, Lin, just use your flashes or coordinate with Lando, who's literally right next to you. Even if Lando just went for the wallbang on that soft wall, it would have done so much work. I think that's wallbangable, at least. I didn't get a good look at, whether the wall is marked with
I mean, yeah,
some
we
flag.
saw Photon just trying to knack through it, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Never mind. Okay. Well, see, I'm sick. That's my excuse. My brain is just kind of shut off. But we have Kuko pushing 1k damage on the other side though. Ghetto long past it at 1240. Photon trailing behind him and almost 100. And 70 to fulfill that. It's Jet though with just 100 currently, 17 and 0. Not his day. He's not a sniper. We'll see if he can pull through with it though. We're back on factory, or rather we're on factory for the first time today is what I should be saying, and it's a huge one. Pause please by Yakuza. So let's see. Okay. Okay, are we pausing?
No donut factory.
Okay, I paused.
All right, nice. No donut factory.
No donut
Some
factory. Well, we have some
some fun
donuts of
toxic.
toxic there. Yeah,
Yeah,
look
so
at
some
it.
fun
Here.
toxic, but that's
Toxic
it.
donuts. There you go.
But for the most part, there are a couple interesting things to note. You know, you've got this sightline for a
Yeah, this is
fallback,
very
which forces the defense if they need a fallback from office, they have to kind of go like this and then try to maybe shoot diffuser like that, for example. But other than that, they could also go through pipe as well. I just realized that too. But you don't really get a good sight line on bomb unless you go all the way like this. I think we had a door charge teased perhaps by the offense to maybe open up this as a kill hole, which does give you a couple of sight lines for your Saber player. But at some point, someone's going to have to rotate and then probably play fan as well. So I think that's probably why we're having LCG not opt to do that anymore. They're going to go for a pretty standard lights play. And if they do that, along with having someone late push fan, that does apply a lot of pressure into office, then you can start working your way through pipe works. And at that point, you've got to deal with pretty much just server farm and dock, for example, maybe like the back area near this tipped forklift, and that's it. That's only a couple places you have to deal with as an attacker. That's just if everything works well for LCG and if everything goes according to plan. But it looks like they'll actually opt to clear out through server as well from storage, which is not a bad idea either because that does also allow for maybe a really nice cutoff angle to have if they get double door pressure. So I do like the implementation here by LCG for this attack.
Okay, LCGR. Let's see. By the way, can we focus on who the hell manages to tip a forklift like that? Can we just zoom in on this, DK?
Someone who's not forklift certified.
How I understand if you like carry something and you know you manage to tip it over, but how do you tip it first and then shove it in there between those two?
He's just not forklift certified.
I guess.
He's going in a free camp to go look at this. You poor thing.
Oh, I feel like that's what would happen if I drove a forklift. It's I don't know. Steam is coming out of there. I feel like everyone should be evacuating. Like, no need to explode the bomb. The forklift's gonna do the job, and then the toxic goo's gonna explode, and you know the end result is gonna be the same. I don't know, man. The defenders didn't think this one through. Didn't need the bomb at all. Just defend the forklift. I miss shit toasting with you, fellow.
Has been quite some time. Apparently, my free camming is Mickey as hell, so I'm gonna get off a free cam. And we're gonna go just look down from the good old fashioned top down.
Okay, well we're finally spawned in, and we are seeing
that's a plus.
3.
Maybe
wait, again, LCG mark 3 on server farm, and then 1 on storage. And where's the last person? Are they gonna be dead? If they've done this on
maybe
they've done this last round on C store. They marked 2 and 1, and then they just didn't mark for 2 other people, but those 2 other people ended up. So what's going on in their attacking planning? But I guess it's working. They've won at least some rounds because they haven't won any on defense. So I guess they have that going on for them. The volleys are coming out in server very early on. The storage breach has been established as well, and it's no one actually playing in storage. Photon though holding an angle on anyone pushing into those storage red doors, and Jet there to support him on the sniper. Not that he is a sniper, but you know he is adapting, overcoming, and
I guess we'll find out later.
Yes.
Yes.
Is he surviving though? Is he gonna survive?
Only time will tell. Hasn't been doing that good a job of surviving many of these engagements, so maybe this will be the round where that finally changes. Oh, just
Hell
barely
yeah.
missing out on Lind, unfortunately. But hey, Logo falls early on. Photon's there on the refrag. Lind's going to die right in the middle of that barbed wire. So the proxy here by the defense of YY is very strong. They're not really allowing the attack to really push in that far outside of storage and server farm. Admiral not able to do all that much besides get that opening pick, but Ghetto's there at the ready, shuts him down so that Saber player is no longer a concern, and now you've got to flush in through server farm, and that's about it because you cannot walk through that barbed wire. Here comes a flash through the smoke grenade to try to make some headway, but it's not going to work out in the slightest because Tommy and Jet are there. Brilliant shot landed, and it is only Lando left to try to survive this. And did Jet just brace fire kill him? I think we just saw that happen. You don't get to see it all that often.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we caught it on stream. I was actually spectating Jet. I saw him on the map, and I was like, oh, he's gonna be deadly. He found the first one still up on the railing. He just shot, he aimed. And then for the second one, he reloaded as fast as he could. He jumped down, and he got the hip fire / brace kill. So, well, I guess he is a sniper now. He's been promoted. He's an occasional sniper. Not always, but sometimes he is a sniper. He tripled his kills effectively, and he also tripled his damage effectively with this one round. Still 0-3 on entry, but at least now he has done some work in some rounds, and that is how Yakuza have pushed match point. LCG cannot win this anymore. They can only tie at best, and I honestly don't see that happening with how they've been falling apart on many of their defenses and also some attacks.
So they've got some potential interesting spawn peaks you could maybe do if you want to mop here. You've got like this really, I think this is a sightline you can use. Yeah, that's a sightline you can use if you want to early mop, for example. I think the attack noticed that. You could spawn peek like this, for example, too. My drawing's really bad, pardon me, but like more like that. Yeah, there we go. That's a nice sightline too if they want to go through Brick House. There are some options. Yeah, Boxy would do a much better job of that because I don't have a non-spastic hand. You would not want me as a surgeon because I'd probably kill you. Hence why I'm a commentator where I use my voice and not my fingers. But looks like we've got Kitchen here on the drawing board for the defense. You know, another fun thing you could do as well is have somebody play like this with the knack maybe. If you've got like a barbed wire. Yeah, if you've got a barbed wire kind of maybe like around like this, for example, kind of like diagonally placed. That way it doesn't like touch this third tile. You actually could get a lot of good audio calls and have a bunch of peer pressure established. Unfortunately, I don't think we have anybody knacking and we have nobody mopping, so all the fun stuff I just talked about is not going to go down. But you know, if it did, I bet we would have enjoyed watching.
Both knacks were lost in the C-store round, which was like the one that
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot because we had one bathroom and then one back storage. Yeah, so they can't knack.
Right, you're my little fruit goer. All good.
Yeah, I remembered it the first time we saw double neck, but yeah, not the second time that actually mattered. Fair enough.
Well, Flogel is... I don't necessarily like this. He's playing checkpoints for those early swings, which is fine, but don't play with an Ingmar. Ingmar, well, it hits like a horse. It also shoots very, very slowly. So you want to try and take, you know, those long-range engagements, not just shoot anyone that comes from around the corner. But no one's actually cleared him out so far, so maybe he's just going for a few last second swings. Kuko clearing the one window, but not the window. There we go. He's not actually moving in the right direction. Takes a lot of damage. Takes out Kuko though. And Toxic. What is happening? Lando finally puts a stop to him, but Ghetto's there to support with a few wallbangs through that hole. Lando now has to push in. Only Clacker in hand. No more flashes. Lin's there to support with 2 flashes of his own, and Admiral with 1. Doesn't even matter. It's just all falling apart for LCG on attack. There we go. UAV gets 1. Lando and Admiral get... What's happening, fellow? I have questions.
I don't know, especially since we have so many sightlines that can be utilized through Courtyard, yet it's actually not favoring the defense at all. Photon's the only one left in Brick House, but he's still applying a good amount of pressure here. Jet with the Gruber just holding on for dear life in the site, as Photon is still just wasting tons of time here against the offense. They're all so low on HP. If anyone walks into the molly of Photon, they are going to be sleeping with the fishes pretty soon. So this is still a very tricky position to actually climb yourself out of, wasting a bunch of flashes. Photon, though, actually got blinded, I believe, and died. So it is now only Jet. Here comes the final flash. Jet can fall back, though, and be able to now reposition himself between Lando and Admiral Crunch, but it's just a crossfire to its highest potential. and we still have LCG come out on top because we saw people just get way too aggressive peeking through courtyard when they already had the man advantage for YY.
Look at how far from the window Tommy died, though. That is very interesting. I want to see, because he died to the UAV from the outside. So that is pretty interesting. I want to see if that is like a client-sided thing, if he was, you know, personally maybe a little bit closer to the window, or if he actually just died from that far. But, well, it is 6-3. Match point still hangs over LCG's heads, and it's pretty much there for the taking for Yakuza, but it's not over just yet. You know, however slim LCG's chances are, they could, in theory, still tie this one up. And again, that means, depending on the other matchups as well, but most likely that means that it's going to be a tiebreaker match between Yakuza and Gnomes if that ends up happening. What's more likely, though, is Yakuza win today, they get those 2 points they need, and it's an LCG Gnomes tiebreaker for relegations instead. We'll see, though, what ends up happening. We still have at least 1 round to go, possibly 3, or well, anything in between, which is just 2. Quick math. We're back on
C-Store. There deep in thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had my head down. I was really thinking here for a minute, almost like a chess player. But I'm not the one playing.
You don't know how to play chess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chess.com after this match.
Yeah, no, you're right. I suck at chess.
That's what I thought. Also do I. So it'll be a battle of the shitters. But back to the round. We're on round 10, so, you know, the sides have been flipped. It's LCG on defense once again. The armories have been restocked. Everyone has access to everything again. And it's going to be a wall charge play onto Storefront coming out from Yakuza, similar to what LCG did 3 rounds ago when they attacked this very same tile set. I do want to see, though, how LCG end up reinforcing this. It looks like it's going to be at least 1, if not 2 barbs in bathroom, meaning someone's probably going to play there for light, for wallbangs, for supportive angles. We'll see if that ends up happening. Tellers here, not that exceptionally strong, mostly because, you know, the slit is kind of looking right. It's not looking towards the bomb like you often see on C-stores. And so if someone is tapping the bomb, yes, they can still get shot from the doors, but it's also much easier to contend those doors than it is just a single little slit inside of tellers. So while tellers are still strong, you know, bulletproof, you can see through them, you can't really enter them, they're not absolutely crucial to clear out like they often can be on C-store. Double spawn P coming out from Lind and Toxic. And I do want to see if they find anyone, but it looks like it's not really going to be a twin doors push coming out from Yakuza, as everyone is just kind of condensing themselves on the bottom card. The breach comes out, though, the flashes are soon followed, smoke first, though, and so Lando, smoke off tellers, and everyone from Yakuza just pushes in, half the map is theirs sort of taking.
Well, we already have instant freezer control. Jet's gonna snipe out one. The mop is already gone because he's just out in the open asking to die. That's exactly what happened. Got the nade being tossed out inside of Arcade. Toxic will have to fall back at least a smidge and go for that molly toss out. He's waiting for a flashbang to be extended, though. Ghetto swings against Tuco. Is gonna win that first engagement. Admiral Crunchberry holds on by a thread. Quite literally, a sliver of HP left for this man stuck in bathroom, and Tommy just runs at him quite bluntly. Toxic able to find one with the help of Lando, but now it is only Toxic left alive, and he's not really that long for this world. It is just a potato fest in the back of Arcade, and the match is now officially over. 7-3 for Yakuza. They're going to go up, and they're going to be placed third now because of that matchup.
Yep, they will be. Well, again, this, you know, relies on Global Breakout beating Gnomes, which is very likely to happen, and then it also relies on Bingus winning it up against Rise, which is absolutely happening. Like we said earlier in the recap show, Doodler said that if somehow today Bingus, his team, loses to Rise, he will choose on stream. But this was only match 1 out of 3 today. We don't have 6 like we usually do. We have 3. All 3 are going to be casted. And I believe it is you staying on for the second one. I will be heading off because my throat is giving me problems, but it's going to be Melvin Men coming in. He's going to be, you know, helping you out. He's going to be your color for today. It's been a pleasure. I've dearly missed due process for the 1 week that I was away, and I'm super sad that the season is nearly over, but we still have lower league tomorrow. We still have, you know, playoffs, relegations, qualifiers, all the juicy stuff is still to happen. So it was super great. Also, fellow, just want to mention one thing before we get off. And it's the
Yes.
fact that I think this was our first due process cast without me ever getting lag detected. Ever.
Oh my god, you're right, and I think you lag detected, like, half a second in the pre-show. Must be
I
a good sign for the future, perhaps, but
perhaps
that's
I've
that is nice to know. Like you mentioned,
yeah.
though, before we go into the second matchup, we're going to a quick little break and be back for, more due process action, very soon because it's already 2, so I doubt we'll have to wait that long, so we'll be back very soon, don't go anywhere.